now, and that we will not accept this, and we will never stand down in our solidarity with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
No justice, no peace.
Following on from the speaker from the Stop Trump coalition, that was Zoe Gardner, just to remind people there's a petition going round to cancel the visit of Donald Trump, to cancel that visit. It's an insult to the people of Ukraine, it's an insult to the people of Britain who are standing by in solidarity with the people of Ukraine. Our next speaker is Dobrov from Euromaidan. Welcome, Pavel.
Слава Україні!
Героям слава!
Слава нації!
Над ворогам!
Україна! 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 Героям України тричі! Ворогам України тричі! My friends, we all know very well that the behavior displayed in this little ambush perpetrated against President Zelensky was not only unseemly, but it was shameful. And a weak display, which is not at all what Trump claimed to be before he went into the White House. Is this what strength looks like?
Cowardice.
Thank you. A strong man does not demean those around him, does not demean his allies, does not try to save face by humiliating those who come to speak to him in peace and in friendship. A strong man aggrandizes those who stand side by side with him, shoulder to shoulder, towards the same goals. That is what Trump should have done. But alas, it is not what he has done.
He's been bribed by Putin.
And this gentleman knows his stuff. My friends, an old saying comes to mind, a saying by Churchill. Always trust the Americans will do the right thing once all the other options have been exhausted. Now I truly do hope, that the Americans will make the right choice before it is too late. Perhaps it is a faint hope, perhaps I'm being naive. I believe there is still time to turn back against this madness and stupidity, against this spread of misinformation, false numbers, 300+ billion. Where did this number come from? Why aren't you wearing a suit? Why is Musk not wearing a suit? Musk's kid, toddler, comes to the White House, wipes his boogers on the table, and then tells Trump to shush and go home. Is this the display of strength we've been advertised so many times by the MAGA crowd? No, my friends, it's not. But we hope the United States will be brought back to reason, will stop these extortionate deals with Ukraine, this attempt to extort as much as possible from those who stand side by side with them. You know, it's very easy to kill someone who has their back turned to you, as they expect you to back them, to help them, to stand side by side against the common enemy. It's much more difficult to be fighting against that common enemy who is prepared and who fights against you and who does everything in his power to destroy you. That is Russia. And whatever gain the Americans expect to achieve by negotiating with the Russian terrorist regime will turn to ash in their mouth once the Russians show their true colors, as they always have, a treacherous, disgusting, country-sized criminal syndicate.
Gangsters! Gangsters!
My friends, we stand right now in a difficult position. Because if we hurt Trump's ego too much, he's going to keep putting sticks in the wheels. Zelensky showed a true character, a good character of a great individual. Because he did not try to laugh at Trump. He did not try to humiliate him. He did not call him out at every word, although he could. He endured it. He took it in the chin. But when he could take it no longer, when the only thing left would be to prostrate himself and to lick Trump's boots, of course he could not do it. And he should not. None of the allies of America should ever be forced to lick America's boots in exchange of what they give for America. My friends, the boons the Americans have gotten from the aid of the Ukrainian people, from the strength and the perseverance of the Ukrainian people, are countless. We're talking about American taxpayer money. That taxpayer money gets returned to America when the Ukrainians buy weapons from America with the same money.
Exactly. Exactly.
The Americans are learning invaluable information from the Ukrainians, who are using their weapons in practice on the battlefield, risking their lives. It is America that should be grateful for Ukraine to stand so strong alongside with the free world. But my friends, I must stress, we do not stand here demanding gratitude, demanding that the Americans prostrate themselves. We do not wish anyone to kneel before us. We merely wish an honest hand to be stretched to us so that we can shake it and have an honest deal, an honest alliance with the United States, who we still see as friends. We have seen what they have done, what the good people of America have done after these shameful displays. They have shown their opposition to this. They have shown they do not stand with this weakness, with this weak, pathetic behavior. They have shown they stand for a better future. And so, that is what we want, my friends. For America to come back to their senses and to remember that their greatest strength is their allies all over the world who stood side by side with them for so long. And just because the Americans can extort them for a little bit of extra money, for a quick buck, does not mean they should. All together, we will win. We will win. We will win. All together, we will win. We will win. We will win. All together, we will win.
We will win. We will win.
Don't trust Russia.
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 America, wake up.
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 My friends, just lastly, I would like to add, I stand here representing no one else but myself and my personal opinions. And I would also like to say that despite any kind of difference different people may have, the most important thing we should always focus on is to always support Ukraine. As if Ukraine falls, the future will be bleak, not only for the Ukrainian people, but for all of humanity. For the precedent that that will set will ruin us all. And that is exactly what we want to avoid. Thank you.
Stop Trump, stop Putin. Stop Trump, stop Putin, no to fascism. Stop Trump, stop Putin, no to fascism. Putin,
When Trump lies, democracy dies. 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 When Trump lies,
democracy dies.
when Trump lies,
Democracy dies.
When Trump lies.
Democracy dies.
When Trump lies. When Trump lies. Stop. Trump. Stop. Trump. Stop. Trump. Stop. Trump. Stop. Trump. Stop. Stop. Stop.
Thank you very much. And that speaker is Yulia Yurchenko, who represents the Confederation of Free Trade Unions of Ukraine. Great people who are standing by their workers in Ukraine, standing up for their rights at work and on the front line. Big welcome for Yulia.
Слава Україні! Смерть ворогам! We have seen a fundamental betrayal of Ukraine, of the values of freedom, and the dissipation of international liberal legal order that was underpinning international systems since the end of the Second World War. That happened on the day that Trump was inaugurated. He has no intention of following any rules, and he said so much before he was elected. He has proceeded to prove right even the most optimistic commentators. Nobody in any of the scariest dreams could have anticipated exactly with what kind of speed this whole situation would unravel and how quickly Trump would overtly align himself with Moscow. We have to understand now, one of the most important things that happened in the Oval Office when Zelensky was there on invitation for what I could only describe as a gangbang scenario, their humiliation ritual was fundamentally a declaration that United States are now on the side of Russia. All masks are off, and in that way, I am optimistic because there is no one in the world who can still pretend or try to convince us to pretend that United States are on the side of Ukraine. They are not. They are not on the side of Europe. They are not on the side of any of their allies. They are launching tariff wars and threats at countries and peoples with who they fought in wars, whose people laid their lives for U.S. interests in the wars that didn't have any business being, to be honest. And now Trump is reneging on all of that. And I think this should be a wake-up call to Americans, many of who were duped into supporting him, many of who didn't want him in the first place. But it also should be a wake-up call to Westminster in rethinking of who they should be supporting. We've heard from Keir Starmer that we shouldn't be picking sides, we should be making amends. I disagree. I think that time has passed. And I know that Britain needs to maneuver, and we also don't want tariffs and trade wars, but you either pick a side now or you'll be pushed in the corner. It's one way or the other, unfortunately. Trump lies. He betrays his allies. He betrayed Ukraine. He refuses to call the aggressors by their name. He blames the victims instead. He's ripping apart the international order for sport, gambling international stability, hundreds of millions of lives by cutting aid, pulling out of climate accords, of World Health Organization participation, including disease prevention in a lot of poor African countries, where we can potentially see now proliferation of future pandemics come from. Those people need support, and it's been pulled from them as something not worth spending money on. Isn't our health something worth fighting for? Please tell me. Or is Tesla Motors more important? Oh, by the way, they will have an exemption from tariffs, we've just heard earlier today. Budapest Memorandum meant nothing for United States. Under Trump, Ukraine gave up its nuclear weapons, and also Minsk agreements meant nothing for Putin. Why would Ukraine believe that this piece of paper, the rare earth minerals agreement, would, without any security guarantees, will not become yet another piece of paper where we give away more and more of what we have and don't have in exchange for exactly nothing, in exchange for privilege to be abused and bombed. not for sale. This is not free market. This is colonial grab and racketeering, and we have kicked people out like that. Look at Yanukovych in Ukraine. And I hope together the world will learn from Ukrainian experience and kick the Trump out of his office and will not let his foot on British soil either. Natural resources are not for sale. Europe, UK, Canada, Japan and other allies must unite against this renegade behavior of Trump and his posse. Appears of war criminals are not welcome in Britain. They should never be, not on our watch. The world deserves better leaders than that. We all deserve a world built on the values that Ukrainians are fighting for our freedom and for yours. Together we will win. Thank you.
Ukraine is not for sale. 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 Our freedom is not for sale. Our freedom is not for sale. Our freedom is not for sale.
Our next speaker is Sasha from the Ukraine Solidarity Campaign.
Can you hear me okay? Hi everyone, my name's Sasha Ismail. Like many of the speakers you've heard tonight, I'm from... Sorry, would you mind? Thank you. Like many of the speakers... Okay, like many of the... Sorry, would you mind? Would you mind? Like many of the speakers you've heard tonight, I'm from the Ukraine Solidarity Campaign, which is the organisation that led on organising tonight's protest and organised a protest in central London 2 weeks ago where thousands marched to protest at the Russian embassy. I'm the trade union officer of the Ukraine Solidarity Campaign. I'm an activist in the trade unions Unison and the Fire Brigades Union. And of course, UK trade unions have stood strongly in solidarity with Ukraine, being the most important social movement in Britain standing in solidarity with Ukraine. We're here tonight because we face a massive global political challenge to rouse our civil societies, our workers' movements, other social movements, to ramp up solidarity with Ukraine in this crisis, and through that, push our governments to act. But part of political support is practical solidarity, and I need to say a few words about that. Ukraine Solidarity Campaign runs regular appeals to raise funds for workers' movement-linked causes in Ukraine, whether that's support for particular army units fighting at the front, or support for essential workers doing their life-saving work behind the lines. Since the full-scale invasion, we've funded and delivered vehicles, equipment and other aid worth hundreds of thousands of pounds to army units, miners, schools, hospitals and recently firefighters and rescue workers, so people in the industry I work in. Now we have a new appeal to fund the purchase of specialist materials needed to make effective camouflage netting to protect Ukrainian frontline defenders. This netting is being produced at Step to Victory, which is a social centre in Persia-Trevensk in eastern Ukraine, set up by mining trade unionists from Luhansk who were forced to flee by the invasion. A leaflet for the appeal has gone round the crowd. Please support it. You can donate online. You can also donate by coming up to me and stuffing cash into my hands. Or by using the card reader I have, so please do come and donate tonight. Let's say that tonight, alongside political solidarity, we also help build practical solidarity. Thank you, and please support Ukraine Solidarity Campaign.
One thing this British government could do to support Ukraine is to seize the Russian assets, to seize the billions of pounds which are stashed away in the City of London, the laundromat for money laundering. This money can be used for the reconstruction of Ukraine, a social and just Ukraine after the war. It can be used now for medical aid. It can be used now to arm Ukraine, whereas Trump is stepping back. So you should go to your MPs, you should talk to them and say, cancel the debt to Ukraine, seize the Russian assets for Ukraine to be able to continue to fight for its liberation and for its freedom. Our next speaker is a Ukrainian here in London, Ola, who's a poet, and she's going to read a poem, a brief poem in Ukrainian and in English, if I understand.
word matters, so I will read a poem about Taras Shevchenko, our Ukrainian warriors, and key moments of the Ukrainian resilience. I saw Taras in February queue to the recruitment office, slowly inching. He frowned while trying on the new high combat boots. The Russians were flinching. I saw him in the trenches piercing cold, the vaults of Azovstal, Teroborona, with a boiled water or a spirit of the Lord, with a guitar just on the subway, on the corner. I saw him on an island in the sea with that nice message to the Russian ship. I saw him in abject captivity. The earth was weeping blood. Drip, drip. I saw him under torture for a dime on the gunpoint of the Russia's chain. I saw him smoking for the final time and saying, "Glory to Ukraine! Слава Україні!" Я бачив Тараса у лютому в черзі попід військкоматом в селі, як хмурих чоло, приміряючи берці, і шарпались десь москалі. Я бачив його у окопі холоднім, в мурах Азовсталі, утро із чаєм, окропом чи духом Господнім, з гітарою десь у метро. На острові в морі, мовляв, на долоні, з посланнями до корабля. Я бачив його у рашистськім полоні, і кров'ю ридала земля. Я бачив його під тортурами в стайні, на мушці, в руках зарізак, як він тютюном затягнувся востаннє і «Слава Вкраїні!» сказав. Слава Україні!
Thank you very much. Wonderful. Our next speaker is Vicky Blake from the trade union, the Universities and Colleges Union, a union along with some others like Unison, the GMB, the Train Drivers Union, which have been solid friends of the people of Ukraine, in particular the trade unions of Ukraine. They've sent aid, they've twinned with schools and colleges in Ukraine to give them aid and to support in these hard times. Anyway, big welcome for Vicky Blake.
Thank you. Friends, I'm Vicky Blake and I'm speaking as a member of UCU's National Executive Committee. And I was UCU's UK President when Putin launched the full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. And I was proud to carry our union banner on an early Ukraine Solidarity Campaign demo. In May 2022, I participated in an ETUCU mission investigating and advocating for education provision for Ukrainian refugee children and young people in Romania and Moldova, and I saw how vital international solidarity is in practice. I saw Romanian and Moldovan trade unions making an immediate difference and how urgently we must respond in times of crisis. And today, outside the US Embassy, we say no to Trump, we say no to Putin, and we say yes to self-determination, to dignity and democracy for Ukraine. We recognise that Ukraine's fight is part of the global struggle against authoritarianism, imperialism and the far right. And Ukraine's incredible resistance has now entered its fourth year. The people of Ukraine, we know you are fighting for survival, for democracy and that right to self-determination. Principles that should fundamentally matter to everyone. And we know Putin is not acting alone. His friends extend far beyond the Kremlin, and we're here today because in the US, Trump and his allies disgracefully threaten the total abandonment of Ukraine, deploying this as a cynical form of leverage for a so-called deal, inviting more destabilization, violence and destruction in Ukraine and beyond. And of course, none of us wants war, but peace imposed through imperial domination is no peace at all. Ukraine's struggle is bound to that wider fight for the global security and justice that we all need, and Ukrainian resistance is a lesson to us all. Trump's return to power threatens not only Ukraine, but peace and democracy around the world, and our answer as trade unionists must be internationalism, because solidarity does not stop rights for Ukraine, and we have worked to build and promote understanding of the issues inside our union. We've been running webinars on academic twinning and energy security. We've publicised an appeal for a school in central Ukraine, and we have been working very closely with the Ukraine Solidarity Campaign, and we secured UCU's affiliation to USC, and we're just really pleased to be able to say that here. Later this month, so at the end of March, UCU will welcome a Ukrainian speaker at our flagship education policy conference to help us consider how we, as educators and trade unionists, can support the rebuilding of education under attack. And at our annual conference last year, we reaffirmed our commitment to support humanitarian appeals, build direct links with Ukrainian institutions and unions, and to resist the gendered violence of war. Solidarity cannot be merely symbolic. Solidarity has to be practical. It means listening to what's needed, delivering direct aid, and challenging disinformation wherever we find it. And we all have a part to play. We all have skills to offer. They might be different skills, but we all have skills to offer. As educators in UCU, we can offer support and we can offer educational resources. We can help refugees access education, and we can stand with our Ukrainian colleagues, keeping education going under unimaginable conditions. But solidarity is not neutral. It means standing with the oppressed, not the oppressors. It means defending the truth of what Ukrainians are living through. No to Putin, no to Trump, yes to Ukraine, and yes to decisions for Ukraine made by the people of Ukraine. Yes to international solidarity. Slava Ukraini!
Occupation is not peace. 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 Stop, Trump, no state visit. Stop, Trump, no state visit. Stop, Trump, no state visit. Stop, Trump.
Thank you very much. Now, our next speaker is Darina from the Goldsmith University Ukrainian Society. Big welcome for Darina.
Thank you so much. How Zelensky was talked to in White House is a disgrace to the United States of America. Huh? How Zelensky was talked to in White House is a disgrace to the United States of America. You might or might not like him, but he was representing people of Ukraine and open to any conversations with our partners.
Friends, we've got speaker.
Mr. Speaker, can you wait a sec?
People in US should wake up because their country is on its way to dictatorship, and that unfortunately will affect the whole world, especially Ukraine. How can you try to shame national leaders for not wearing a suit, while at the same time Russia launches drones on living quarters? How can you tell him just to be grateful when millions of Ukrainians suffer consequences of this invasion? Some of American politicians don't have any conscience or sense of responsibility, and someone needs to tell him that. And who's gonna do it? Us. Слава Україні! Слава нації! Україна! Україна! Yeah. Thank you so much.
Our next speaker is from the Green Party. It's great to have speakers from various political parties in solidarity with the people of Ukraine. And it's Caroline Russell.
That's correct.
Caroline Russell from the Green Party. She's also a member of the Greater London Assembly.
That's correct. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody, and it is so amazing to see so many people here in support of Ukraine. Now, illegal and deadly full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Europeans must do all we can to support Ukrainian people in the struggle for freedom, self-determination and a just and lasting peace. The Green Party, not just in England and Wales, but across Europe and the globe, reaffirm our steadfast support for Ukraine. Russia's war of aggression is a breach of international law and justice, and the utterly shameful, vindictive treatment of President Zelensky in Washington last week by President Trump and Vice President Vance was a new low, which only played into Putin's hands and shows just how far the world order has shifted. Attempts to forge a peace deal negotiated over the head of Ukraine is not acceptable. Ukraine must be at the center of any talks. Nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine, and nothing about Europe without Europe. So European countries, including the UK, must now work together to push for peace. And now is also the time to fully seize the frozen Russian assets to further boost Ukraine's defense. And remember, without the revenue and leverage provided by European dependence on Russian fossil fuels, Putin could not have waged his illegal war against Ukraine. Net zero is also a security issue. We must remember that the European Union was and remains a peace project built on the shared values of freedom, democracy, equality, the rule of law, and human rights. For peace and security in Ukraine and in Europe as a whole, we must stand united with EU leaders and others across the world against those who wish to divide us. Slava Ukraini!
Seize the Russian assets! 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 Seize the Russian assets!
Seize the Russian assets! Seize the Russian assets! Seize the Russian assets! Cancel the debt! Seize the debt! Cancel the debt! Cancel the debt! Cancel the debt! Cancel the debt! Seize the Russian assets! Seize the Russian assets! Seize the Russian assets! Seize the Russian assets!
Seize the Russian assets! 1, 2, 3, 4.
Occupation no more! 5, 6, 7, 8!
Russia is a terrorist state!
1, 2, 3, 4! Occupation no more! 5, 6, 7, 8! Russia is a terror state! 1, 2, 3, 4! Occupation no more! 5, 6, 7, 8!
Russia is a terrorist state!
Thank you very much for your contribution to this meeting tonight by chanting over here. Now we'll go back to the stage, and we've got Golom from an organisation called Atlas, who is an organisation which is campaigning against occupations around the world.
So we're here today because we believe that in unity we can actually stand strong. We believe that in unity Ukraine can win. We've seen it. A few countries get to pull support away, and suddenly Europe comes together. Suddenly Europe says no more. Finally, maybe Europe decides to stand strong. You have decided to send weapons, peacekeepers, money, support, hopefully to cancel the debt, as we just chanted. But we need more, because today we still see hesitation. After more than 3 years of war, we still see countries hesitating on whether to stand by Ukraine, hesitating on whether to stand against Putin's invasion, occupation, bombardments. We still see countries weighting the price of human life against the potential profits from minerals. How is that still the case 3 years on? How is that still acceptable? It isn't. Because we know that a Russian peace is no peace at all. This is not the first time Russia has invaded, occupied, bombed, massacred civilians in Ukraine. It happened in 2014. It happened again. And it will happen again unless we stand strong, united with Ukraine, for Ukraine. It's insane that we still have to debate this. It's absolutely insane. Russia doesn't want peace. It wants control. It wants to rewrite history. It wants to erase Ukraine's independence. It wants to expand its imperialistic agenda. It wants to continue to invade. So when people talk about peace but refuse to support Ukraine, what they're actually saying is not peace. What they're actually saying is, give Russia what it wants, let the aggressor win. International law doesn't matter. The UN doesn't matter. Ukraine doesn't matter. We don't matter. The richest matter. The most powerful, the biggest aggressor. I don't know about you, but that's not a world I want to live in. A world where Putin is left unchecked after invading over and over again, after destroying cities, after destroying futures, lives, livelihoods, is not a world I want to see 5 years from now, because it won't stop. A world I want to see is a world where Ukraine wins. A world where Ukraine is rebuilt with the profits from seized Russian assets, where the debt is cancelled. I want to see a world where our forces, world forces, not just European, I think his Thomas step of a coalition of the willing is a good first step. It's not enough. Why just Europe? As the speaker before mentioned, it's a war against imperialism, occupation. It's not Ukraine only. It goes from Ukraine to the DRC, to Palestine. We've seen countries that are invading, occupying, and nothing is stopping them. Right now, we're seeing the most powerful country in the world, the US, that gets to pull out last minute of promised support, and nothing happens. Clearly, this is a failed world order. How can we live in a world where Russia gets to veto every time there's a discussion about Ukraine? Still has a veto power at the United Nations. How is that the reality? It's completely insane. It's completely unacceptable. But I actually have hope after this depressing thing. I actually have hope. Because I think that Trump, with all of his madness, with his cozying up to dictators, from Putin to Netanyahu to all of the others, is giving us an insane opportunity to say, no, we'll actually stick together, we'll actually stand together for every freedom struggle, systematically, without failing. We'll support militarily, we'll send peacekeepers, we'll support financially, we'll support politically, diplomatically. We will sanction, put embargoes, kick those terrorist states out of the United Nations. We'll do everything that is needed. Now is the moment to do this. And for this, we need the coalition of the willing, but more. We need every country on earth to stand together with Ukraine. So let's start by cancelling the next visit of Trump, by boosting the coalition of the willing, and by protesting every single time until this happens. Slava Ukraini!
Stop Trump! No state visit! 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 Stop Trump!
No state visit!
Stop Trump! No state visit! Stop Trump!
No state visit! Stop Trump! And there's a petition going around calling on the government to cancel the visit. It's an insult to the people of Ukraine. It's an insult to us who are in solidarity with the people of Ukraine. Our next speaker is an activist from, our next speaker is Eva from Razem, which is a left political party in Poland.
Hello everyone! Will we start with some chants again? Occupation is no peace!
Occupation is no peace!
Occupation is no
basically defeat us all, but we are here not, and we will not be defeated. And occupation is no peace, yes. And I wanted to just send a message of solidarity from Poland as well. Poland also understands the struggle with imperialist powers, and we will stay on your side. So please remember that as well. And today I think we also should think about other steps than just protesting that we can take. We should try and affiliate our unions with Ukraine Solidarity Campaign, join us as individuals to do beyond just like coming together, actually, you know, build some sort of movement. Tomorrow there is a meeting from the Stop Trump Pain Coalition, which you can also join online or in person. And I think we just need to stay strong through all this time and continue fighting. So I guess last thing I wanted to add is that there's so many of us here, and we had such a short notice. Like, we need to think about ourselves as like in terms of classes as well. We are the working class who's fighting against people like Trump, who are representing the ruling classes and the capitalists. And we can win this through working across different topics and trying to organize within trade unions and within our groups. So let's continue doing that on all fronts. Thank you. Slava Ukraini!
Hello everyone, my name is Alexei. I came all the way from Bus today here because it's the moment where we need to unite and stand up. I'm an activist and student in Bus, and I prepared a little speech today. Thank you. Dear friends of Ukraine, supporters of democracy and defenders of freedom, I stand in front of you today, not as a politician, not as a diplomat, but as an 18-year-old student. A student who cannot sit still when one of Ukraine's most important strategic allies is making a decision that could cost Ukraine its future as a nation and countless lives of many people. Every day, I wake up and check my phone, not for messages from my friends or university emails, but to see if my loved ones are still alive. And I traveled all the way from Bus to